Again, let's choose page. Let's go back to power mode. So we've covered all of those power tools that we've spoken about there. What I'll do now is just show a few other, what I might call power tools of the IP board, very powerful things. Obviously, if this is in a school situation, you often have the part where a student might well be missing. And in this day and age, it is very, very easy for everything that appears upon the IP board to be emailed home to somebody. All that you have to do that is choose File and Send Email. What happens there is it gives you a selection of putting the current page or all of the pages into an email presentation. So if you have your Outlook client or any other email client configured, what will happen is all of the pages you have on your screen will now be zipped up into a document, attached to an email and sent to as many people as you require them to be sent to. Very, very powerful tool. Exporting as an image gives you choices. Before we showed you how to screen capture, and when we screen captured, it only exported into the JPEG format. That's the default format. When you choose the export image, you have a lot more options to be able to export into. Instead of now just a JPEG file, you have the bitmap or a PNG file you can export into. So the whole page can be selected, or as you saw before, you can just choose an individual page or the whole presentation to export out as a JPEG. The next section, which is export as HTML, very important for schools that have learning management systems, intranets, blogs, or any other system that wants to keep the community in touch with what's happening inside a classroom on an IP board. Very, very powerful tool, this one. Watch what happens here. We're going to go File, we're going to go Export HTML. What this will do is enable us to select all of the pages in our presentation and export them out as a HTML file. If I can just ask somebody to quickly type just a name there, anything will do. That's fine. This time I'm going to choose to put it on the desktop of the computer to easily find it, and we'll save it. What's now taking place is all of the pages are now being converted into HTML documents and being dropped out for somebody to gain access to. Let's just go and take a look. On the desktop, we now have an Internet Explorer document, or a HTML document, which we can open in our browser, expand. We now have all of the pages that are entirely linked to a HTML document. So it's very, very easy for somebody to come to that later, to any lesson, and see exactly the action that was happening on our screen, or what was taking place in our classroom. So all of that is entirely accessible to anybody who has the option of a browser. So every bit of action now viewable in a browser. Another thing similar to the export as HTML, or similar to the playback function, is the ability to be able to screen record. Now, the screen record is a powerful tool. It comes as a different piece of software under the IP board software program. So when you go out and you load the IP board software, what you'll see is you have a screen recorder. Launching the screen recorder enables us to record any action that's taking place on the screen. So returning back to the IP board, we can go back again, we can choose various different parts of the screen, and we can talk to it. If we have the microphone configured, this is not only recording the action on our screen, it is also recording the action that takes place by sound as well. So once we've done that, we can stop. We can choose to save it as an AVI. Save that. And we can play it back. Obviously we don't have a microphone attached to this, but had we a microphone attached, it would come up as an AVI movie with sound. So very powerful for a colleague being able to be shown the sort of action that takes place on the IP board and annotate it with voice and show somebody entirely what's possible. For collegiality or sharing the action that takes place, it's an unbeatable tool. Returning to our presentation again, we have now covered off, I believe, all of the power tools that we spoke about before. let's just make a few more comments about the creative tools or the creative aspects of some of the software that is part of the Ipboard software. The first thing I'd really like to focus on is the ability to manage your galleries. As we said before, it comes with a public gallery with extensive aspects in it. Lots and lots of tools that you're going to use time and time again with your students. But the other thing that's very, very powerful is you have your own user gallery. Now, as we said before, you can add different images and even worksheets, such as the ones we've got up there. You can add those very, very easily into your own personal gallery. So configuring, you can log on an independent user, so every individual teacher, be they a teacher of maths, science, English, Chinese, whatever it is they're teaching, they can actually put their own gallery of pictures or even worksheets that they can build up into here and be able to use them as lesson resources. So there are full resource banks that you can build, you can share amongst your department area, or you can share amongst your school quite easily, just by using the user guides or the user gallery and public gallery of the Ipboard software. So that was the creative aspects. What I want to focus on now is the large range of templates that are available in the public gallery. Another extensive feature that makes for a very, very useful thing for teachers. For teachers, you have an aspect of the various courts that you can bring out for your sport teachers. There are English backgrounds with letters, symbols on them there. There is, let's just drag one of these over just to see the effect. So you have templates with letters on it for English. You have grids that you can use for your maths. If you are doing number lines, things like that, you have those. You have, as well as that, music galleries. So music teachers can make great use of this. There is just such an enormous range. What I'm going to do is do a quick playback using our screen playback feature, so you can see some of the templates that are available in here that come with the Ipboard. Very extensive range, even the drama people are catered for. The software that comes with the Ipboard is comprehensive, they're simple to use, there is a lot there. You can create a far more dynamic teaching and learning experience using the Ipboard software than with just your simple projector. There is an enormous amount of software and hardware that makes this very, very useful. Finally, I just wanted to say that there is lots of other things that you can also attach to the Ipboard, which brings in the whole scope of it. It's possible to show DVDs on this screen. Obviously, with a printer attached, you have the capabilities of a printer, but also with something like webcams and with microphones, very easy to be able to do something like web conferencing between two different schools. There is an enormous amount of scope for use of something like the Ipboard in a classroom situation. The last thing I want to focus on is just the functionality of the tools in terms of being able to change them around very quickly. You'll see, for some of the shorter people, that you can actually change the menu to put the toolbar down the bottom for somebody who might be a bit shorter. Depending on the boards, you have a controllable toolbar here as well, where you can go forward and backward very quickly using the side buttons. The other thing that is useful is noting that you can sync or expand the toolbar here, and the other thing that you can do very quickly is change the side that the toolbar appears upon. So very configurable, very easy to use and to suit the